In December 2021, I walked away from nursing leadership, thinking I just take 3 months off, rest, take my sabbatical. Well, that 3 months turned into 9 months, surprisingly. However, 3 years later, as I reflect back on my sabbatical, I realized 6 brutal truths that have changed everything about how I see work, success, and even my own identity. Now, if you're watching this at midnight, exhausted from just putting the kids down, coming back home from a shift, just closing your laptop and wondering, is this it? This video just might change your life too. So here are the 6 lessons I learned from my nursing sabbatical. Lesson 1, separating who you are from what you do. Now, since I was 22, when asked, what do you do? I would probably say, I'm a nurse. And later it evolved into, I'm a nurse practitioner. And then I'm a nurse leader. My work was my identity. And it made sense at that time because I was proud of what I did, how I helped people, took care of those who felt sick, helped communities, and truly enjoyed the work that I did. But here's what nobody tells you about losing yourself in your work. You can still love what you do and it not become all of you. You don't want 10 to 15 years later, you wake up and realize you've spent years building a life that was supposed to be rewarding and fulfilling. But is it really? I realized this during my sabbatical while working on my mobile application. I attended networking events where people would always ask, so what do you do? I'm a nurse. I'm a nurse practitioner. No, I'm an entrepreneur. No, I'm a nurse entrepreneur. No, I'm a nurse on sabbatical. I just didn't know how to answer because the follow-up question was even more difficult. Well, where do you work? I felt like I was having an identity crisis. Everything had revolved around my job and my schedule, that I didn't know who I was without it. Imagine in my first PICU job, when I was 22, I worked 3 weeks of days, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and 3 weeks of evenings, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Any decision I made about weekends, birthdays, events, hanging out with my friends, all came down to the question of, am I working? I had to realize that I'm more than what I work or what I do. I'm a Black woman with a zest for life who loves to take care of others, who craves experiences, and who wants to move through life with flow. That my identity is bigger than any title. Now, I challenge you, pause this video right now. Introduce yourself out loud without mentioning your job title. Go ahead, I'll wait. Couldn't do it, could you? Or it felt weird. Because if you can't describe yourself, who you are without your job title, you don't have a career. You too might also have an identity crisis. So how do you actually start separating your identity from your work? I'll give you one tidbit. Start with your morning routine. For 1 week, don't check your email as soon as you wake up. Do something just for you, whether it be exercise, journal, spend time with your partner, make a real breakfast, hug your kids just a little bit longer. Not because it's productive, because it matters to you outside of what you do and your job title. So lesson 2 is, why does rest feel impossible? We live in a culture that praises being busy, productive, tired. You ask someone how their day was and they'll often answer with one of those words, as if exhaustion equals accomplishment. The more that we do, the more productive our day was. Especially high achievers like me, raise your hand in the comments if you are, nurses and mid-career women who often feel guilty when we're not doing. Back when I was working 4 9-hour shifts, a friend would ask why I wasn't using my days off to finally start my dreams. Like I had an extra day off, because I only worked 4 days a week. And the truth was I was exhausted. In my day, I would have trauma cases, talk to numerous patients, back-to-back meetings, family responsibilities. My body and mind needed time to recover. And even now I find myself fighting the conditioning. Like, I'm getting over cold and I should have recorded this video 3 days ago and I didn't have it. And I felt somewhat guilty, like I need to get this done. And even though I still kind of read and I looked up things and prepped the script for this, it still felt like I was not doing enough. My instinct was to keep going, yet instead I paused and I rested my body. I found the book by Tricia Hershey, which I love, which is called Rest is Resistance, where she writes, rest is not lazy. Rest is a form of resistance. And my sabbatical taught me that lesson, and I'm still learning it every single day. And I need to say something here that might make you feel uncomfortable. You are allowed to want more than just survival in life. You are allowed to want joy, curiosity, play, even if you're 40, even if you have responsibilities, even if your kids, your spouse, your partner, your parents are counting on you. And especially then, because you can't pour from an empty cup. And if you keep pouring, you will end up bone dry. And if you're thinking, I can't rest, I have too much to do, try this. Schedule rest like you would schedule a doctor's appointment. Block 2 hours out this weekend, just 2 hours, and name it non-negotiable rest. Treat it like the doctor's appointment. Make sure that you attend it and find that time to carve out just for you. And make sure that you own that time, whether it's walking in the park. Lesson 3, curiosity is how we come back to ourselves. Now, I truly believe this. Adults should never stop cultivating childlike curiosity. Before my sabbatical, my curiosity showed up in travel. I flew to carnivals across the Caribbean. I traveled solo to new countries where I didn't know the language and just explored. Later, I would try different things like sewing lessons, joining a run club, running my first half marathon, anything that sparked interest that was like, wow, that's cool. During my sabbatical, I took up kickboxing, fishing, tennis, and even now I'm learning to play the steel pan and a bit obsessed with pickleball. Some people thought, are you floundering? Like, what are you doing? But the truth is, I was actually finding myself. Because curiosity isn't about finding the right thing. It's about remembering what it feels like to do something just because it lights you up. Not because it's productive, not because it looks good on LinkedIn or on your CV or on Instagram or TikTok, but because it makes you feel alive. So here's your curiosity challenge. Just think of one thing that you've always wanted doing. Just think about it. And then Google beginner classes near me right now. Look up dance, pottery, martial arts, painting. It doesn't matter. Pick one that you've always known you wanted to do and maybe you think I'm too old or it's too late. And before you talk yourself out of it, just sign up for it. Pay the $25 to $30 to take a lesson. Just sign up. Because you don't need a sabbatical to do something different. You just need one evening a week and the courage to feel like a beginner again. So lesson 4 is that success isn't one size fits all. For years, success meant climbing the ladder for me. Getting that next degree, the next certification, the next promotion. As a Black woman, I was told I had to be 10 times better just to prove myself. Or if I didn't get that doctorate or the credentials, it would be harder to get that next opportunity for people to believe me or to be the leader I wanted to be. But somewhere along the way, I stopped asking if I even wanted to climb that ladder. I was just climbing because that's where everybody was doing. We're just climbing together. Thinking that's what you're supposed to do, right? You're going to keep going regardless if it doesn't feel right to you. Keep proving yourself even if you're exhausted. Yet my sabbatical gave me a whole new answer. That if I ever decide to pursue another degree, it won't be for the letters after my name. It will be for the impact that I can make with the education I receive. My sabbatical forced me to redefine success entirely. Because for me, its success isn't about credentials alone. Success for me now is waking up with peace of mind, creating work that fulfills my soul, and building a life that I don't need a vacation from. Success also looks like waking up without an alarm clock every day and having energy to cook dinner and spend time with friends. Saying no without feeling guilty. Spending a Wednesday afternoon at the beach just because. And I know you're probably thinking, I'm too far into this to change now. I have bills, mortgage, invested too much, marriage. Nothing can change. That's a trap and a lie you're telling yourself. Because you are living success that you defined 10 years ago. But what does success look like for you now? So here's what I want you to do. Redefine success. Write down what success looked at 25. And if you're living it now, great. But what does it look like for you now? And I guarantee what you think success was then and now is different. And that's not failure. That's actually growth. Lesson 5 is joy in work is not optional. People always talk about having joy in work as a luxury. Especially in healthcare, we're taught that sacrifice is noble, that suffering for the work makes us better caregivers. When we don't eat lunch, we don't go to the bathroom, we just keep pushing on. And I truly think that's a lie that keeps us trapped. I mean, I love being a bedside nurse, a nurse practitioner, the connection, the teamwork, the purpose. But as I moved into leadership, even though I love supporting my team, making sure I advocated for them, giving them the things they needed, it required so much of me, my time, my access, my energy, that even though I loved it, my body was screaming that it was exhausted, tired, burned out. The Sunday scaries, the Wednesday hump day was real. And so I truly believe joy in work is not a bonus, it's necessary. And when your joy is gone, your body's telling you that something needs to change. So for 1 week, think about it. Track your energy. After every day you finish work, or even before you work, what's your energy like before you go in, and what's your energy like afterwards? And if your energy on a scale of 1 to 10 is always 5 and below, something needs to change. You're allowed to want work that energizes you instead of drains you. That's not entitlement. That's not a luxury. That's self-preservation. Now, the last lesson I learned is 6. Pivoting doesn't mean you wasted your time. The scariest part of my sabbatical wasn't the uncertainty. It wasn't people asking me, what are you going to do? It's in my head saying, you spend all this time, all this money on your education, and for what? That voice kept me stuck for years. But here's what it doesn't tell you. That voice that's telling you this is impossible. That the scariest part isn't making the wrong decision. The scariest part is waking up at 55, realizing you never made any choice. You just let life happen for you. Every skill you've built, every season you've survived, it all transfers. Even though I left clinical work, my nursing background taught me empathy, crisis management, staying calm under pressure, and advocacy. Those skills transferred everywhere, so it wasn't lost. It was just being reshaped. It was still the foundation of who I am. And so if you're waiting for permission to explore what's next, this is it. Not to be reckless, not to abandon your life and your responsibilities, but to stop abandoning yourself. And if you're scared of pivoting, start with micro pivots. As I said before, you don't need to quit your job. Maybe decrease your hours if you can. Try working part-time. Take a 3-month leave, or maybe even just take a 1-month leave. Shadow someone in a new area. Volunteer in an area that you're interested in. Small pivots create clarity without chaos. And here's what nobody tells you. The people who judge you for pivoting are usually the ones too scared to change their own lives. So don't let their fear, their projected fear, become your prison. You don't owe anyone any explanation for choosing yourself. Not your colleagues, not your family, no one. Not the version of you from 10 years ago. The only person you owe anything to is the person you're becoming. That person deserves better than a life lived on autopilot because everybody else is doing it. Let's recap. Rest isn't earned, it's required. Your identity is bigger than your job. Curiosity brings you back to yourself. Success is what you define it as. And joy in your work isn't optional. Like, it's not optional. And pivoting doesn't mean you wasted your time. It means you're evolving. But knowing these lessons doesn't really change your life. The only thing that changes it is acting on them. And yes, I tell people to take sabbaticals all the time, but the truth is you don't need a year-long sabbatical to change everything. You just need one brave decision, one boundary, one conversation, one evening doing something that reminds you that you matter. Now, pick one lesson that hit you hardest and do one thing about it this week, like this week. And that's where transformation starts. Not with a dramatic exit, but with one honest step. If this resonated with you and you're ready to create your own version of the shift, you can definitely book a call with me using the link below. And if you found this helpful, tell me in the comment section which lesson hit home for you. I would love to hear more. Feel free to share this with someone who needs permission to pause, who keeps talking about it over and over again and just hasn't started. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you on the next one. And just remember to take care and take breaks.